Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Ali coming to you from Precision Chiropractic and the Body Intelligent. And it's Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody is enjoying their weekend so far. Coming to you with our first video of the Healing Brain series. And today I'm going to talk about exercise and the brain. And I started with exercise because it is my favorite. But it's also one of the most transformative things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to help your brain heal and function better. There was some research that came out to look at the three biggest factors that you could change in order to prevent the cognitive decline in Alzheimer's. And it was ideal weight, continuous learning, and then exercise. And out of the three, exercise proved to be the most potent of the three in order to help that decline, the cognitive decline, slow. So it is truly transformative, and I would say it's just as important for your brain getting exercise as it is for your heart. And so we always hear a lot of talk about, you exercise for your heart health. But now we're going to be exercising for our brain health. Overall, your brain controls, the entire body and vice versa. There's a lot of interconnections there, but we're going to go through why is exercise so important for the brain. So I wrote some stuff up on the whiteboard in back of me. What I'm going to do is take a picture of it and post it below the video, because I recognize that it's not as clear to see as I originally thought. So let's get into it, and then I'll post a picture of what's on the board in back of me. All right, so let's get into it. So first one, how is exercise so important for the brain? Number one, blood flow. So we know that blood carries nutrients and oxygen all over the body. And for the brain, your brain uses about 20 to 30% of your total body energy expenditure just for brain function. So it uses a vast amount of energy. It has to get that replenished. Blood flow we have to count on in order to get the energy that the brain needs in order to make the rest of our body function. So blood flow is super important. Exercise increases blood flow into the brain. Number two, it reduces stress. So, if we were not under stress before COVID-19 hit the world, we are most likely under a lot more stress right now. So stress increases your cortisol levels. When you get stressed out, your adrenal glands start to pump out cortisol. Cortisol is your main stress hormone. It is what dictates basically your sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system is your go, go, go. It's your fight or flight mode of operating in the nervous system. It's your gas pedal. Parasympathetic nervous system is your rest, your digest, your recovery mode, gear of the nervous system. That's the brake pedal. You cannot be in two modes at the same time. It's either one or the other. The way that society has basically been, our kind of current zone, as it were, has been one to go, go, go. And so most of us living are more in our sympathetic dominant mode than we are in parasympathetic. Now we switch in and out of these modes all the time. We have to, and we can't be in one too long. But again, a lot of the way that we operate in the world is just go, go, go. Our gas is pedal to the metal. So when we're in that sympathetic mode, cortisol levels increase. Research has found that higher cortisol levels make brain tissue decline. So people who have long-term sustained high cortisol level actually lost more brain tissue than counterparts that didn't have high sustained cortisol levels. So by exercising, we reduce stress. Cortisol levels drop after you exercise. Exercise also increases your GABA cells, GABA cells. GABA cells basically increase your body's resistance to stress. So it makes us more adaptable, more resilient to stress. Exercise also immediately, one of the effects that happens is that you increase your levels of neurotransmitters. So think serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline. Dopamine, serotonin, feel-good chemicals. So what do? They boost your mood. So again, we reduce stress, we boost our mood, good things. And number 3, exercise is one of the best promoters of brain cell growth, so new growth of brain cells. It also strengthens the neural connections that are already there. So specifically what they found is in the research, your prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus are 2 of the major brain centers that have the most direct effect from exercise. And we're going to talk about that right over here. So your prefrontal cortex is responsible for executive function, planning and organization, maintaining focus and attention, problem solving and decision making, and then it initiates or delays a response. So it can be really important for impulse control. Your prefrontal cortex also has some control over your limbic system. Your limbic system is the deep emotional brain center, so think amygdala. When your prefrontal cortex controls the limbic system, what we look at is better control over emotions and better control over impulses. Your hippocampus is the other brain center that is highly charged or highly activated from exercise. Your hippocampus is responsible for memory, especially long-term memory, and then also learning. So these 2 brain centers are the most affected. So when we exercise, especially when we look at long-term exercise, we're going to have better control over our impulses. We're going to have better executive function, better planning, organization, focus, attention. So when you exercise, studies have shown that for 2 hours after you exercise, you have better focus and better ability to shift between what you're putting your attention on and then streamlining that attention. And that lasts for 2 hours after your exercise. And then also exercise leads to better long-term memory in the long run, again. Prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus are also 2 brain centers that are the most susceptible to cognitive decline and Alzheimer's. And so when we look at one of the 4th major benefits of exercise in the brain, it has protective effects against cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. And so in the short term and in the long term, exercise feeds the brain just vital nutrients, vital oxygen, and then it activates your prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, which are 2 of the biggest brain centers that long-term effects stop cognitive decline. So Alzheimer's obviously is a big neurodegenerative disease. The brain changes that are associated with Alzheimer's, those changes start decades before any symptoms begin. And so the importance of exercise, starting it as young as we can and continuing out through our life, is really important for those cognitive benefits. So when we look at exercise, to put all of the information into play, we want to talk about, all right, where do we start? What do we do? So research shows that you need to do aerobic exercise 3 to 4 times a week minimum. And what I always tell people is if you don't know where to start, you start with walking. Walking is the most primal movement that your body knows. And so it's the easiest place to start, and it's the place that's most sustainable as far as getting the body geared up to increase the intensity. You don't want to start something and jump in with a high intensity level and avoid or risk injury. We want to avoid the injury so that we can keep it going day to day to day. So start with walking and then go to hiking and then go to jogging and then running, biking, swimming. It has to feel good to your body. You have to enjoy the exercise that you're doing to make it sustainable and to make you want to keep doing it. What I always recommend too is get a workout buddy. They keep you accountable, and it's really, can be really hard to be accountable to yourself. And so when you get a buddy involved, then you're accountable to somebody else, they're accountable to you, and it's a good buddy system. So it has to be fun. I mean, similar to like you have to enjoy it, it has to be fun. So dancing is another one. I mean, put some music on and just rock out. It's got to be, move your body. Dancing can certainly be aerobic. Start with low impact. In our office, we see a lot of post-concussion patients, and higher impact activity is not available to them at the moment. It can produce headaches or some increased brain pressure, and so higher impact activities may need to wait. But if you're not post-concussion, then you may be able to jump into the higher impact activities a lot earlier, depending on your activity level. But always start with something low impact and then build from there so that your body doesn't get injured. Start with one plane. So again, walking, biking, you're in a one-dimensional plane. Again, if you have any brain imbalances, and coordination or disorientation is a big thing for that your brain is working through, you want to start with things that are one-dimensional so that you're not moving in multiple planes at the same time. You're just staying straight on. Again, walking, biking can be good for that, swimming even as well. Let's see if I got all of that. Yeah. Oh, and then I found some really cool research around what was the world's best brain sport. And although they don't know what kind of aerobic activity is the best for the brain health, what they did find was the best brain activity as far as sporting goes was ping pong. So any racket sport, what they found were people who played racket ball sports, their longevity, they lived longer than people who didn't. Another fun research fact was ballroom dancing. That came in as a really big cognitive strengthener. And if you think about what you do in ballroom dancing, you use a lot of coordination, you use a lot of body awareness, so proprioception, and you have to be aware of the other person, and there's a lot of, again, interpersonal contact. So you're using a lot of function of your brain right there. So ping pong, ballroom dancing, two of those things, if you got those. If not, again, start with where you're at. Find something that you enjoy, something that get your heart rate up. If you don't have a Fitbit or something that is reading your heart rate, basically an old school way to gauge that is if you were walking, you want to increase your heart rate enough to where you can stay at a normal breathing and that you could carry on a full conversation with somebody that you were walking with without having to pause, catch your breath, and then get back into the conversation. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions surrounding exercise in the brain, again, just comment below and I will take a picture of what's behind me and then post it as well under the video. The next video that I'm going to do is on the brain and sleep. So we go from exercise to sleep. We need to work and then we need to rest. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Namaste, be well.